Hello, so this is a summary video of the journey gathering we had last night, and we ate together first of all. That's a great way of being family together. And then off the back of that, we talked about community or family. So I read first of all Mark and Luke's account of when Jesus chose the 12. And in Luke's account, in Luke chapter 6, it says, "In these days, he went out to the mountain to pray." That's Jesus. "And all night he continued in prayer to God. And when day came, he called his disciples and chose from them 12." And then in Mark's version, chapter 3 of Mark, "And he went up to the mountain and called to him those who he desired, and they came to him. And he appointed 12, whom he also named apostles, so that they might be with him, and he might send them out to preach and have authority to cast out demons." So in these accounts, what I love about Luke's take on it was how Jesus spent all night in prayer to his Father. He was making a big decision, and often when Jesus was going to make a big decision, or he needed that spiritual connection with his Father, he spent a night in prayer. And off the back of that, we read more in Mark's version of events in chapter 3, that he called those who he desired to be with to come to him, and they came to him. And then there's these two things it says, that they might be with him and that he might send them out. And that's what this is all about. These journey gatherings is about a coming together to be together, to be with Jesus, to be his disciples, but also to fulfill the second half, to be sent out, together. And that's what happened with the disciples. We know that Jesus sent them out at different times, not on their own, but with others. And we read as well throughout the Acts account of the early church, how they were sent to build communities, to build Jesus communities, to be plurally together, locked in those family relationships, households being saved, the oikos gathering to Jesus. And so we then recognize from these scriptures that, Jesus, the way he recognized what God was doing was by spending time with his Father. And I said about this last night, that in the past, small groups, home groups, every church has some kind of small group structure and needs a small group structure, because that's where discipleship really happens. And in past experiences, maybe you experienced being put in a group, well, this one's needs more people, or this one's in your geographical area. And then also other ways it's done is it's a kind of a free-for-all, go where you feel. And Jesus didn't do either. He recognized whom the Father had given him, whom the Father had called to be with him and to be sent out from him. And I think that pulls us into a place of going, we need to spend some time with God, recognizing whom God has put with us and whom he wants us to be community with. Let's do it in that way, like Jesus did it. So then we did an activity, and you can do this activity now. So you'll see across the bottom of the screen this simple diagram. And on the left there, it's got Christians, and on the right, it's got non-Christians or not yet Christians. And all we did last night is we made a bit of a list of some of the people whom we feel God has given us, Christians that God has put around us to be in community with, to be connected with. When you get bad news or good news, who is it you call? Who is it you say, could you pray for me? Who is it you're walking with? And we wrote down some names, and you can do that now, if you like, in the box on the left that says Christians. And then in the box on the right, who are the non-Christians? Who are the not yet Christians that you are connected with, who God has put in your way? And we want to reach those people. But there's a gap, isn't there? There's a cultural gap between the Christians, between the church, if you like, and the not yet Christians, those who don't know Jesus. And in the past, we kind of think, well, if we can get them along to church. But, the gospel is, and Jesus' commission, the Great Commission, is that we are sent to make disciples. We're the one who cross the cultural barrier and to reach out to people, not just expecting them to come to us. And so then what we did after we'd kind of done that is we had a bit of a discussion about the second box from the left, okay? And we put the title of community on that box. You know, we're not just a random collection of Christians. We want to be a community. We want to be connected with one another. We want to be shoulder to shoulder with one another in the gospel. And then I asked the question, and people discuss this in groups. So what does a really good community look like? You know, what elements are there that a really good Jesus community has this aspect and this and this and this? And we had loads of feedback, really good stuff about what a really buzzing Christian community is or should look like. And then I read out the account from Acts chapter 2, the early newborn church, and what that community looked like. And I'll just read it out now. Acts 2, verse 42, and they devoted themselves to the apostles' teaching and to fellowship, to the breaking of bread and to prayer. And awe came upon every soul, and many wonders and signs were being done through the apostles. And all who believed were together and had all things in common. And they were selling their possessions and belongings and distributing the proceeds to all as they had need. And day by day, attending the temple together and breaking bread in their homes, they received their food with glad and generous hearts, praising God and having favor with all the people. And the Lord added to their number day by day those who were being saved. This vibrant community, you know, eating together in their homes, and in the temple courts, they were seen by the not yet Christians. They were seen by those outside of the community. And awe came upon the wider community, and people added to their number daily those who were being saved. There were miracles happening. There was fellowship, prayer, breaking of bread. There was teaching. There was sharing of their possessions. There was giving to those in need. This vibrant community. And I said about, you know, I used to be a guest speaker in schools, and I was a teacher, an RE teacher for a while as well. And when you ask young people the question, what does church look like? What is church? That's not the answers I got from the young people outside of the Christian community. You know, to them, church was a building, certain people in the building, not particularly a joy-filled place. And one of the things some people said from our feedback last night was that a vibrant community is a place of fun. It's a place of for every generation. It's a place where people feel belonging and that people feel safe and can grow. That's the kind of communities we want to see develop within our community, within our church. And then I just made this statement to finish, that really good small groups become communities. And you might have seen that in the past. You might have belonged to a small group that moves from being a small group that meets once a week, and it starts to become a community where you're connected throughout the week, using WhatsApp, seeing each other more, going deeper together, hanging out together. Being in community means so much more than attending one meeting or event. And so really good small groups become communities. And here's the next part of this. And really good Jesus communities live as sent ones, live on mission, live in obedience to the Great Commission. They obey Jesus' call to go into all the world, to make disciples. You know, it's impossible to be a disciple without walking towards making disciples, reproducing, because Jesus commanded us to do so. And if we follow him into that pattern. But here's the thing, we do it together. You're not alone. You don't have to go and save the world. You know, we need to be together and hear God and be sent by God to fulfill what he called us to do. So yeah, to be with Jesus, and he sent them out as well. And so we just filled out a little bit around what it means to be community. But you notice there's one more box in this diagram. Okay, there's still a bit of a gap between the community and the not yet Christians, and so that we then put the heading mission over that third box. But it's the mission of the community. What is the mission of the community that starts to gather? Who are the people that we're sent to? What's the people group? Or who are the people that we invite? And what do we invite them to? Or what do we go to with them? And that's what we didn't get onto, okay? So, but maybe think about it. How can we develop communities that bridge the gap to reach those who don't know Jesus? Maybe think about the people you know who are not yet Christians. What is it that's going to really give opportunity for them to belong, for them to feel connected and part of the community? And that's what we want to do, is we want to move just a step beyond home groups, a step beyond small groups. Home groups are brilliant, but I feel like there's that thing of when they become a really vibrant community, there's then the next step of being fulfillers of the Great Commission together. All right, so that's what we talked about, and I just loved eating together last night, and we want to sort of look at how we can do that more. But I hope you enjoyed this. I hope you understood it. I hope you're getting the picture that when we talk about communities on mission, it starts with community, where discipleship can then happen, and where the Great Commission can be fulfilled from. Okay, we're not there yet. We're on the journey, which is why it's called Journey Gatherings at the moment. So I hope you connect more with this, and we'll be speaking to this on Sundays as well. And so stay tuned to more of this and the next stage, and to fill out that box of what mission looks like as well. Bless you all.